nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
I'm Miguel.
And this is episode number 6. Yes, episode number 6 of Purely and Simply Evil. It feels like we've had more episodes of this than we have for whatever reason.
A little bit.
Why?
Quick question. How's your mic?
My mic?
Yeah, it's a little low.
Is it low?
Yeah.
Let me see.
That's weird, guys, because literally
here.
Just fine.
Sound okay? Testing,
I mean,
testing.
I can hear it, but like it's really low. So I
Okay.
mean, whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'll keep twiddling with the settings. So guys, this is our discussion of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, released in 1989. We'll talk the production of the film. We'll talk our kind of review / discussion of it. Not really a fan favorite amongst a whole lot of Halloween fans. Where it falls in my ranking, I think might kind of shock some people. But we'll kind of get into that in a minute. So before we start talking Halloween, Miguel, another cold, snowy morning in Kentucky. Miguel is real sick of winter already, and it's not even February yet. So
I really am. I've been snowed in like at least 3 times already. It's
been
by
3 or 4
far the
times.
worst thing to ever have because I don't have a truck. Okay, I don't have a 4-wheel drive car. I'm sorry, I don't have 4-wheel drive or truck money, so I'm stuck with a 2-wheel drive fucking GTI, and we're gonna have to make it work.
Yeah,
Dude, literally do something. Your mic is
is it all right? Is this better?
No.
Tell me if this is any better.
Okay.
Is this better?
No.
My mic is up all the way. I don't know what to tell you.
It sounds different. It sounds echoey.
I don't know why. I'm not sure why. Let me hold on here. Hold on. We're doing it live here, so we gotta do this. So hold on a second.
I know it's not my headphones because I mean my voice is relatively clear. It's just I'm able to hear your voice decently.
Okay, tell me how this is. Better? Any better at all?
Oh yeah, 10 times better.
It is, like, for real? Is it too loud? It's on my mic is on 200% right now. So I'm not kidding you. It's on 200%. So if it's too loud, let me know.
Okay, I will.
That should work now.
All right. I'm sorry, guys. Either me. Okay, actually, yeah, turn it down now.
Is the echo gone?
No, turn it down.
Hop. Okay, how's this? Better?
Okay, perfect.
Better?
Yeah.
Better. Cool.
Okay, dude. I like it when you talk in my ear, but when you do it that loud, it's fucking.
You don't like it when I scream in your ear.
Yeah, exactly. No one likes to have something scream in their ear, no matter how sensual it is. I'm just saying.
No, they don't. All right, so let's talk some Halloween 5, man. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, directed by Dominique Athenan Girard, released October 13th, 1989. Halloween 4, very successful. Everybody was dying to see Michael come back after what then was kind of viewed as an atrocity, Halloween 3. Of course, now it's kind of become a fan favorite, and it's in its own way, it's kind of become, honestly, I don't know if I would call Halloween 3 the black sheep of the Halloween franchise anymore. I don't think I would. I would almost give
this one would definitely be the fucking black sheep of the Halloween
On
franchise.
it, and I don't think you're wrong there. I think a lot of people would probably agree with you on that. I think for me, here I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. For me, I would put H5 over H6. And I know that's like blasphemy to a lot of people because there are some hardcore fans of The Curse of Michael Myers, of either version of that film. There's some hardcore fans of it. Halloween 5 is not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's really not. But for me at least, I don't know, there's something about Halloween 5 that still feels more, it feels more Halloween than Halloween 6 ever did to me. I don't really get a super Halloween-y vibe from H6. It just doesn't, it doesn't do it for me for whatever reason. I don't know.
The way I could best explain it is like the fact that with Halloween 5, I'm not gonna lie, we all know why Halloween 6 is vastly different from Halloween 5. We all know pretty much if you've seen it. Like that little sprinkle of bullshit that they added to that movie.
You talk about a little sprinkle. It's more like you doused it in Cult of Thorn. Stupid. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a Cult of Thorn fan. And you do like. I do have to admit, Halloween 5 is where it derailed it. Halloween 5 is the thing that derailed the franchise. This is the reason H6 happened, and I don't agree with a lot of the creative decisions that they made for this movie. But in terms of the vibe, the mood that I get from it, it still feels more I don't know. I think H5 is kind of the line for me where it feels connected to the original. Everything after H5, when you look at H6, and then of course H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombie's films, even the newer Blumhouse trilogy, like it still has its all of those films still have their own, they have their own vibe to them, you know what I mean? And of course it was a new decade, it was the 90s, so of course like the pop culture had changed at that point.
What about pop culture said, hey, let's talk about cults, y'all?
I don't know. We were talking about that when we did our H6 commentary. I think you were like, what is it about cults, man, that people are so like fascinated with? Like, we have to make it a cult. The cult has to be the driving force behind all of the mayhem and the whatever else is going on. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, I don't know where this I want to, okay. A cult's not a conspiracy. It's just something that came out in the 90s. Like it was so prevalent. It was just it became such a dark thing. Cults did.
Right.
I don't know. When did the whole Kool-Aid man happen?
I don't know. And that's part of the problem with this movie is I don't think this movie necessarily knows what it wants to be. Like, it wants to stay true to the original, but the director, Dominique Athena Girard, it kind of famously had said he wasn't really a fan of Halloween 4. Despite its success, and it's kind of funny because
then don't make the movie.
H4 is a fan favorite. People love H4. A lot of people put H4 even above H2, above H18, above H2O. H4 is a very, very much a fan favorite film. And this director actually said that he felt H4 was weak. And he's got, if you look at a couple of the things I'm pulling from Taking Shape, and if you don't have Taking Shape and you're a Halloween fan, you got to pick that thing up, man, because there is so much information jam-packed in those books. And there's an article with Dominique Athena Girard in there, and he kind of talked his passion for like psychological thrillers, which is, I'm sure, where a lot of the decisions came to play here. Like a lot of the stuff that they did with Jamie and this whole psychological connection, a lot of what they did with the Man in Black, even though they had no idea, they literally had no plan. Like he flat out, what did you just send me? Please tell me that's fake.
That's not fake.
Are you being serious?
I'm being dead ass. Breaking news, guys. We are officially getting a new Daredevil series. And he's excited about it because he just finished it.
I just finished it last night. This is complete. We just derailed. I just finished Daredevil last night, bro. I'm not going to stay on this long because I know we're talking Halloween. It's honestly probably in the top 5 best TV series I've watched ever. Like, it's that good. If you haven't watched Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix, bro, you're legit missing out. It's amazing, man. That was
He's
awesome.
no guys.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
awesome.
He's a little behind the train. So I'm sure all of us have seen it
I am
already.
behind the train. Yeah.
But yeah,
But it's okay. I think we're gonna watch either The Punisher or Defenders next. I'm not sure.
Punisher, just do that, dude. Just do yourself
Yeah,
a
well,
favor.
yeah, I probably will. Anyways, back to Halloween 5. You know, Dominique Girard actually he wanted to push the supernatural / like psychological connection between them. I don't think at the end of H4 when Jamie, after they pull a Sonny from The Godfather and they, shoot him up to high heaven at the end of H4, when she goes and like touches his hand, I don't think that was supposed to be like a psychological thing. I think that was almost more of her just being kind of like it was like a naive kid thing. You know what I mean? Like, she just watched them shoot this guy 60 times. And she walks up and she kind of touches his arm or whatever. And of course, then he sits up or whatever. But, I think this director probably even took that and ran with it like I don't know.
I think that
It's interesting.
I think it was like a personal choice that the little girl, grabbed Michael's hand, and then the director was like, "Yo, this is a dope idea. We got to keep going." But sir, there's only so much footage we have left. Whatever, just put it in. I don't care. Last couple of minutes, let's fucking do it.
Well, and even if you look at, so H4 was very successful. Mustafa Akkad was like, bro, this is happening. He was like, we have to have an H5. Like, they threw H5 into production. And I think they originally wanted Dwight Little to come back as co-writer and director, but Dwight Little and the people that worked on H4, they were already happy with Halloween 4. They were like, I don't know where he even kind of said in this book, in his interview, he was like, I don't even know where I would go with an H5. He was happy with, the last shot you see is Loomis up on the stairs getting ready to shoot Jamie after she stabs her mom with the scissors. And it's kind of like the female version of what Michael was when he was a 6-year-old kid. She's got the clown mask, she's got the scissors, she's all bloody, and Loomis sees her up on the stairs. And of course, then Meeker hits his hand down and Loomis is like crying. We end on that shot of Loomis like, just completely losing it.
Yeah.
And Milo apparently thinks Loomis is he liked that ending too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just interesting because I actually found a quote, and not only did they really push the psychological connection thing, but they also really pushed this humanizing of Michael, which is something that he really wanted to do in this movie. There were quite a few different scripts that were kind of tossed around, as with all of the Halloween films. I mean, it's kind of a standard thing that, with a lot of the 80s and 90s Halloween films, especially, which I guess that's all of them. There are so many scripts and so many toss scripts and so many wild and crazy directions that they wanted to go that they ended up not going. Like one of the earlier scripts actually had Michael being resurrected by a lightning bolt. And the film was kind of heavily inspired by Frankenstein, where he's not evil. He's the lightning bolt, when it resurrected him, he kind of became innocent and like a bumbling idiot for the most part. And
No.
It ended up being like, I believe Loomis was trying to protect him because he knew he was good, and but the town didn't, and they were trying to go out. Like, it was just this whole like he really wanted to humanize him. And like I said, I pulled this quote. This comes directly from the director, from Dominique Girard. Again, to humanize him, to give him a tear, talking about when Michael cries halfway through the movie. If evil, or in this case, our boogeyman, knows pain or love or demonstrate feeling of regret, he becomes even more scary to me, as if he pursues his malefic action. He shows an evil determination beyond his feelings. Dr. Loomis tries to reach his emotional side several times in H5, which he does. He thinks he could cure Michael through his feelings. And that's just not, that to me, that's not in line with what John Carpenter originally wanted.
Literally,
the entire
no one
point
cares about your feelings.
the entire
Especially
point
Michael.
of that character in the original was that blank, pale, emotionless face. He has no feelings. He's not even angry. It's just he does. It's not out of anger. It's not out of some kind of rage. Even though I know Loomis is always the rage. I don't know. It's strange. Like it's a strange dichotomy, and it's kind of what makes that character. So I think this over-humanizing him thing, in terms of his emotion, and it depends on how you humanize him, like Halloween Kills. We saw he feels pain. It's very clear that he feels pain. You can humanize humanize him in certain ways. Like when the mob was beating him up in the street. Like he looks like he's in pain.
When he got stabbed by the fucking pitchfork, you could see the pain. He feels.
Yes. I mean, he grunts. He kind of makes sound. He moans. He breathes. Even when he went to reach for the knife after they were beating him up and Karen stepped on his hand, he was like, he was shaking. Like he had no strength left in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But of course it makes him supernatural because boom, he snaps out of it and he gets up and goes again, so humanizing him in those kinds of ways, I think are perfectly acceptable. But the issue here is that nobody ever wants to see him cry. Like Michael,
when I saw that,
he feels bad or I don't know.
Whenever old girl, she just walked into the fucking coffin and
Uncle
she just
Boogie
laid
Man?
down. And I was like, is this bitch really about to just let him kill him? And I was
Uncle Boogie Man?
And then he takes off the mask and you see a close-up of his eyes. And I was like, what is this, Black Christmas? Like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, where are we going at this point? You see the single tear and I'm like, are we supposed to cry? Like, is this supposed to be emotional? Like, I don't follow.
It's meant to make you connect with him on a human level.
There's no reason to connect with this man.
And I guess
connecting with this man.
I guess I kind of understand what he's saying, in John Carpenter's original vision, he's scary because it's almost like he's a supernatural being. Like he's too supernatural. He's too out in left field. You know what I mean? But this, I believe what he was trying to do. What are you doing?
I'm trying to see if you guys have emotions with my one eye.
But with what, this crew was trying to do, they were trying to make him almost so that you sympathize with him, and then it's almost a shock when he continues, when he snaps out of it and he puts the mask back on and he chooses to be this way. So it's almost kind of, you have to decide which cup of tea do you want? Do you want the brute force, he feels no emotion and he just does this because he wants to, Michael? Or do you want the emotionally driven, he's kind of wrestling with his inner self? It's more of the psychological, especially in H5. And honestly, one of my favorite scenes in this film, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, is when Loomis is waiting by the window and Michael kind of walks up to him, and him and Loomis kind of have that moment. And Loomis is like, come with me and I'll help you. And he's trying to talk to him and he's trying to connect with him. He's trying to connect with Michael on a human their relationship. He's trying to connect with him. Like the director said, he's trying to use his emotion against him. He's trying to make him feel bad, basically. And, Michael kind of hands him the knife a little bit. And then he's like, what am I doing? And he slashes him and throws Loomis over the balcony or whatever. But yeah, it's an interesting thought. And that is one of my favorite scenes. I don't mind, I don't mind Loomis trying to connect with him emotionally. That's not the problem, I don't think. The problem is when you actually show Michael being emotional. You know what I mean? There's a difference between Loomis trying to connect with him and Michael actually crying when he looks at Jamie. You know what I mean?
I just don't like the reasoning behind I just don't like the idea of trying to connect with them, because unless you give me some decent exposition and you see what he's gone through, then sure, yeah, maybe I could sympathize with him.
That's fair too.
When you start the fucking franchise off with Loomis's famous line, which we clearly are glad to show you again in our intro, that's it. That's the only exposition we have.
That's all you need. You don't need anything else.
There's no reason to try to wrestle with his like emotion or try to get to his like emotional side. Like there is no emotional side. It's plain as day. Literally, the script literally says emotionless. So like, what the fuck are we going at? The
Yeah.
guy's completely emotionless. Quote Drake, but it is what it is. Like I don't know I don't know. You probably have liked that little area when he was like, looking at the knife. Nah, dude, just stab him again and just throw him off the fucking stairwell. Like in a Halloween too. Like just just stab him and just push him away. Like as simple as that. You don't want to kill him. I get it.
Well,
But
you almost get the sense though in those scenes. In the scene where Jamie is kind of like touching him and she's going, uncle. And I don't know. And that's not a knock at Dannielle Harris. It's just I don't know why somebody thought it was a good idea to have Dannielle Harris say, Uncle Boogie Man. Like, what? Like,
are you
no,
serious?
bro.
She said that. Did I miss that?
Yeah. And then like, even the scene with Loomis, it almost almost makes you think like he's thinking about it. Like he's consciously thinking about, am I wrong for this? And I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody else would disagree with me, but I think
I disagree with you.
when we push this emotion driven narrative, that's kind of what I get out of those scenes. I get the idea that, Michael does feel bad, but something in him just tells him he has to, and again, I'm not a fan of that. I like the purely and simply evil Michael, the emotionless blank face. There was nothing, there's nothing there. He's just, he's basically comatose. He's not angry. He's not sad. He's not, he doesn't get like some like weird thrill out of doing it. He just doesn't, So that's my Michael. That's the Michael that I like. And that's why I thought they handled him so well in Halloween Kills, I mean, Halloween Kills was a lot of things, but Michael was spot on. Like he really was. 100%. Honestly, I think Michael in Halloween Kills is probably my favorite version of that character, including in the original. I think it's probably my favorite version. To be completely honest with you, I do. I think it was the perfect balance of like what John Carpenter originally wanted. Plus, like, we got the little moments of him when he puts the, what's her name's husband up on the counter and he's like, look at this one. Oh boy. And he's like trying like different ones. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like the perfect combination of classic and weird.
Yeah, and that's honestly like the most I would rather see Michael's like mental consciousness is whenever he was looking at that knife. Because I mean, yeah, they said he's pretty much like a 6-year-old boy in a 45-year-old's body with the strength of a fucking grown bear. So like that's literally it. That's all I need to know. Like, honest to God, like because if you would have said he's just a grown man, and obviously he probably has like a much more mature consciousness than what you would expect. But the fact that he's basically a 6-year-old boy, like, 6-year-old boys don't particularly have controls over their emotions. They usually stick with one and they roll with it.
Right.
And Michael was the same way. Like, he's just curious, but he has the power of a man, so he can literally just kill as much as he wants because that's just something he's not to say that he's curious about killing, but like it's just a feeling that he's stuck with. And it's just like Hawkins' partner before he unfortunately got shot by Hawkins. He said one day he just snapped.
Yeah.
He was, picking the wings off of flies and whatnot, torturing animals. Like he just does. And I don't know what else to explain. And I think you could build like a long franchise off that without having to give the exposition of why he does what he does.
Well, even what does Frank say in Halloween Kills when he's talking to Laurie in the hospital? He's a 6-year-old kid in a man's body with the strength of a man and the mind of an animal. Like
that's the phrase. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know, and I was kind of paraphrasing. He probably says a little bit differently. So let's talk about the movie because even Donald Pleasence had commented on the fact he didn't like the direction of H5. Like he felt like Donald Pleasence actually felt that they should have continued from the ending of H4 and just kept Jamie as the killer. Michael is dead. The evil has like transferred into Jamie for whatever reason, and then you pick up from there. So he wasn't really a fan of what they did with H5. And it's unfortunate because this was only the second to last movie we had. H6 was it. He died. I believe I believe during post production on H6, which is why some of it's a little bit choppy almost. It was either right at the end of filming or during post
I think it
for
was in the
H6.
beginning, honest. I think it was like no, not in the beginning,
I'm
obviously.
gonna say
Obviously
what?
not. But like it was like halfway through the fucking movie because halfway through the production because you could definitely tell it was getting choppy in his last film. But
Okay.
with with this one, it's kind of surprising that Donald Pleasence didn't want another Michael Myers. They just wanted to continue with Jamie, which I don't know. I would have to disagree with Donald Pleasance. You know, respect to my
Right.
homes, but like you said, Loomis's relationship with Michael is so like
Right.
strong that for them to add another uh killer on the loose, it kind of just I feel like it wouldn't be as connecting for us to watch, so to
Well,
speak.
it's what makes this trilogy so good too, or the Thorn trilogy as Halloween fans know it. H4, H5 and H8. H4, H5 and H6. Not uh that Thorn trilogy, man. Like, and again, I'm not a Thorn fan. I prefer the H2O storyline. I prefer the new storyline. There are other storylines that I prefer. But you know, I here's the problem. I think even when you look at the Man in Black talking about the Cult of Thorn thing, they had no idea what, he literally didn't know what they were doing with the Man in Black. They just felt like they needed a hook, like they needed something else. Like the Michael storyline wasn't enough anymore. They needed something new. And they came up with the Man in Black. I mean, and Mustafa Akkad, even when Halloween 5 was in production, Akkad was already wanting to plan for H6, which I don't really understand because, I get it. It was the 80s. We were in this the 80s horror craze was like in full swing at that point. And of course, you have to remember the 80s was not the time of Michael Myers. There were only 2 Halloween movies well, 3. You had you had Halloween 2 in 1981. You had Halloween 4 in 90 what? Or 80 84, 85, and then this was 89. So I mean, you only had 3. The 80s were all about Freddy and Jason. I mean, Freddy
Yeah.
and Jason ruled the 80s, even in that in the intro for this show, like one of my favorite shots ever is of Jason standing in Times Square from Jason Takes Manhattan, and that they ruled the 80s. So Michael was not the central horror figure of the 80s. So I guess, I don't know, maybe they thought we got to bring something new in. We got to bring new blood into this franchise. Something's got to change. So they brought the Man in Black in because they knew they were going to do an H6. And it's funny because the Dominique Athena Gerard actually said, another quote here, "I considered him a soul brother to Michael who came from afar to get him. I was conscious enough to give freedom of interpretation to the next team of creators as to who he really is. I was attentive not to lock them in too tight of a position so they could play the card as they wished. On the set, I found the idea of the Mark of Thorn to link him to Michael. I drew the ruin on the actors and the wall." I don't know, saying he was conscious enough to give enough freedom of interpretation to the next creators, to me that says, hey, I didn't know what we were doing with this. We just threw him in and was like, hey, this is gonna make people go, what? Like, who is that? And literally the entire movie, he doesn't even play a role. Like, he doesn't do anything until the final scene, which I can't stand. The final scene, not that it's not well done. I think the movie should have ended. We're kind of going in reverse here. I feel like the movie should have ended when Loomis beats the holy hell out of Michael and falls on top, has the heart attack or whatever, falls on top of him, and you cut with Jamie crying, and that's it. That's the end. That's all you need. I don't need to see Michael with the mask on, handcuffed, leaned over in the corner of the cell, I don't need to see the Man in Black with a tactical shotgun tearing the police station up, blowing Michael out of his cell. Like I felt like we didn't need to see that. Like even if you wanted to leave the police station ending where you hear the gunshots, you hear the bullets, you hear all that stuff, and then Jamie walks in and she sees it all, which is similar to what happened. I just think they showed too much. It was just too much. It was too over the top spectacle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and one thing that really got me with the fucking Man in Black at the very end was it was the fact that we've seen what Michael can do when he's in a police station.
Mm-hmm.
In Halloween 4, and you saw what he did.
In that police station.
In that police station alone.
That police station.
Like, he straight up murked every single one of them.
Yeah.
And then to see him hunched over, handcuffed, in a cell like that, and then all of a sudden, some simple Man in Black came in with a fucking MP40 and just wrecked the whole place. Like, where are we getting at? We literally went from one movie to the next. We went from a supernatural, like borderline supernatural Michael Myers to a, I don't know, 24-year-old kid that's a part of a cult.
Well, it was
almost as if the Man in Black lost Michael like a dog, and then the police station found him and caged him. So
here's the thing. It's almost like, and I guess looking back on it, and again, we sound like we're crapping all over H5. I'm not. I actually enjoy H5 more than a lot of others in the franchise. And I'm not crapping all over what Dominique, Athene, and Gerard did. I think there's some really cool things about H5 too. But the thing is, and I guess looking back on it, maybe they did accomplish what they wanted to do with H5 because
we got H6. No.
Well, no, even you. Think of it like if you went and saw this in the theater in 1989, you don't even know H6 doesn't even exist yet. You see this guy, he kicks the dog when he gets off the bus. He's got the silver-toed boots and he kicks the dog. Then
what
we
is
see
it
him
about
again.
Halloween and dogs, dude.
I don't know,
Bro,
but you're right. They hate dogs, man. But we see him kick the dog. We see him walking down the street with the briefcase, seeing Michael drive away with Tina. Just kind of a handful of other times that we see him. He doesn't say anything. We don't see his face. We don't see who it is. We know nothing about the character. And then, of course, if you're sitting there watching in the movie theater and you hear an explosion and every cop is dead and you see him kind of in the shadows with the shotgun killing people and whatever. Like, if the movie would have ended that way, me sitting in a theater, I would have been like, what? Like, I don't know. It didn't end like a Halloween movie should end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's
not that there's even a specific way that it should. It was strange. It's a very strange note to leave on,
Yeah, and well, I guess it really is kind of a way to end a Halloween movie because, after every single Halloween movie, at least like every other Halloween movie, Michael gets away like scot-free. Like he's somehow or some way, whether he was just shot to hell or, taken or like subdued, like he gets away at some point. Like you don't see him, and then all of a sudden we're wondering where he is next.
Yeah. What's really funny to think of is the Man in Black and Michael on the run. Like, right? I think, because, Quentin Tarantino was actually like tapped to do H6 at one point. And I think I don't remember what happened. He turned it down because Quentin Tarantino loves the Halloween franchise. And I think he like turned it down or they had creative differences or something like and his pitch was literally like the Man in Black and Loomis and Michael like on the run together, like trying, like, I don't know. It was weird. Like it was something really, really strange. Okay. I was like, that's something that only Quentin Tarantino would come up with.
Yeah. It'd literally be like a shit ton of exposition, which is like not good for Michael, and then a lot of killing. Like the blood would be gory as fuck. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, his Halloween movie would have been like crazy.
Yeah, without a doubt. But oh wait, which one was it that blew up the stepfather?
Huh?
Which movie had him blow up the father? Was that H6 or H5?
Oh, you're talking about John Stroud. That was H6.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was about to say like that looked like a Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino move right there, and it would have been a lot bloodier.
Every death would have been like that if it was
Yeah,
Tarantino's movie.
exactly.
I don't even know what we were talking about. The Man in Black thing, man. It's just it's that's one of my least favorite parts, if not my least favorite part of the movie.
Well, when you
And
told
it's
me
cool.
that,
Like I said, the ending is well done. I mean, it looks cool, and the way it cuts out, like Jamie's walking around, she's crying, she's like, she's freaking out. She knows Michael's gone. The Man in Black is gone. When she says no, and it just cuts to black, that's cool. Like that is a cool way to end it. But I just think there could have been. I think you could have cut that whole police station thing out of the movie.
yeah,
At least for me.
I agree because it gets me thinking. If that was the case, if we're like following it like chronologically and like keeping all of, like the little theories in place, that would probably mean like the Man in Black was involved in like Halloween 4.
Oh yeah.
And that means he probably took down the fucking police station while Michael was out there hunting. Who knows?
But this Cult of Thorn thing, even the Cult of Thorn trilogy even goes back all the way to the original, because the cult got to him in Smith's Grove. So even if it was, but it was. I don't know. It makes no sense. That's partially why I don't like the Cult of Thorn thing, because like they're in Smith's Grove. Like it's like an underground thing going on with Smith's Grove, but it's also like, but he didn't have anything to do with Smith's Grove. He didn't have Loomis wasn't his psychiatrist before he killed Judith. You know what I mean? When he was 6 years old, and that's where you get the whole like Celtic curse thing and Michael's lineage, and it comes from it's so out there. It doesn't make sense to me.
But the best part about this one was the fact that, at least with this one, like I'll give it its little plus, was the fact that we didn't really get to see much of like the House of Thorns in this one. Obviously, we're kind of dogging on the House of Thorns because we already seen like the Revenge of Michael Myers and like what it actually is. But in this one with the Nick Cage mask, which we haven't even got started on the Nick Cage mask, but
there's a lot we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. In this movie alone, like, yeah, it showed the Man in Black, but it wasn't like there. Like it wasn't really prevalent. I saw the House of Thorns symbols and like, parts of the movies, like, in the house, for instance. Like you see it every now and then, but it wasn't a main focus of it. And like your quote in the fucking in the book, when he said like it was just like he was given like a foundation for other people to make whatever they want. That was such a cop out, because it pretty much made me say, it made me think, it was like, bro, that means you didn't have a script ready. You're just like, let's just create something.
I think
because you can create like a theory, you can create like a mystery in a movie, and then you could build off of it on your own. But then when you're like, I don't know what's going on, so let me just add this thing right here and let the other guy figure it out. That's pretty much what you said.
I think part of the problem, even going back to, H4 was so successful. H3 kind of bombed. People were like, this is not what we want. And they were like, oh, crap, we got to fix this. H4, they brought Michael back. Huge success. They rushed H5 into production. And they were already low-key trying to rush H6 into production. Like, I don't know what... I'm again, when you're a moneymaker, or when you have a franchise that's a moneymaker, like, and it's going to put butts in seats, like you're gonna do it. I totally get that, but usually you're not trying to, unless it's the MCU or it's Avatar or the DCEU or whether it's that kind of franchise, you're usually not planning a sequel past the sequel that you're already working on right now. You know what I mean? Especially when you're in pre-production. Unless like I said, unless it's purposely a trilogy. If you're purposely planning part of a trilogy, that makes sense. But this was not the case with Halloween 5. You know what I mean? And we know that. And part of the problem, I think, why this derails the franchise is because it was rushed. It was, everything about this was rushed into production.
Yeah, because back then, like, no one, like, I'm pretty sure nobody was given a trilogy. Nobody was given a trilogy like option no one's offered the
Oh,
opportunity to make a trilogy. It was
especially for
always
a horror movie.
right. It was always just make a movie. If it does well, we'll green light
Do
another
another
one.
one.
So like it was
Another
like
one.
you had that they had that formula back then where it was like, oh well, everything has to end on a cliffhanger so we can, have like increase the possibility of getting a, another sequel. But, it's just and in doing so, you hinder your opportunity to make a compelling story because you're always trying to figure out how you can make another movie later on, which will
Right.
generate more money. For instance, like, in Godzilla versus Kong, people weren't a fan of Godzilla versus Kong because it didn't in place a possibility of another movie.
Right.
But the director himself said, I didn't make a movie in hopes of creating a sequel. I just told my
Wanted to make a
story.
good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a good movie. I wanted to tell my story. And if someone else wants to make a sequel out of it or just completely go somewhere else, by all means do it. But I just wanted to make my movie and make a compelling story.
Yeah.
That's the way you probably should do it. Because again, that's the way it makes that's the way it helps the audience love a franchise more when they know that I'm going to get a good story out of this movie. I'm going to get a good $20 worth out of this fucking movie. Not, I'm going to sit here and spend $20 knowing that I have to come back, next year or the year after that to put another $20 to finish the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
for sure.
I think that was a little bit of a cop out with the fucking Man in Black. Like, if you wanted to bring the Man in Black, explain it a little bit. Just don't leave him right there, and then it's like a fucking spider on. No, it was like a fly on your TV screen. You know how you have a fly on your TV screen, and you're like, dude, just fucking leave, and like it just won't leave. So you're just watching a movie, and there's just a fly somewhere on your TV. Like we've all seen that, right? So that's just the way. Like that's what I feel the Man in Black was. It was literally just a fly on your TV screen that had no other reasons to be there except to be a nuisance to the initial story.
Bro, Mustafa Akkad was like, what do we want? Michael! When do we want him? Michael! That's how that went, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, and you got to look at the time too. I mean, again, the 80s, look at all those horror sequels, man. I mean, it was just sequel. I mean, they were just like, it was, people were crazy for it. They wanted more horror, and it was just like, make another sequel, make another one, make another one, make another one, make it. Was it successful? Okay, do another one. It wasn't successful. Do another one anyways. I don't care. It was the world they were living in. So let's talk a little bit about the movie as a whole. Kind of break it down a little bit. The opening of the movie, you get the same deal. Recap of H4, but of course this time they used dynamite, which we didn't see at the end of H4. I always thought the whole opening is strange to me because even from the time we end the H4 recap to the time Jamie wakes up and she can't breathe in the clinic, like it's strange because first of all, it's weird to see Michael like crawling around in the drain, like trying to get out. And then it's odd because we see the H4 mask, and then he crawls out of the drain, and it's the Nick Cage. It's the H5 untucked mask, and it's like, what the hell? Where did that come from?
He prepped me for that. He was like, because whenever the movie started, it was like the the mask from before, and I was like, wait, I thought this was a Nick Cage mask. He was like, oh, just wait, just wait. There it is, and I was like, what?
That dynamite
came out of the drain. As soon as he came out of the drain, a whole new mask. I guess there's a Home Depot in that fucking drain because he just, quick and grabbed.
They sell Myers masks at Home Depot?
I don't know. A hardware store. That's where Michael got it. Do we not remember the first movie, guys?
You're right. But it's a drugstore, though, too.
It's a Home Depot / CVS.
Whatever.
We live in the South, dude. There's literally KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut all combined in one. Like we have those types of restaurants, okay? We
That's
do
fair.
be
It was
like that.
probably like a pharmacy and a hardware store and a drugstore and like a convenience store all in one. And you could also buy like milk and bread and whatever else.
Pretty much, yeah.
So they sell everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird like seeing him. It's weird seeing him crawl around. It's strange seeing the mask just shift for no reason. And then even like, Don Shanks, who played Michael, like he said they had like shoulder pads so he could float. And he actually said filming that scene was awful because he not only is he like, flailing around in the water, and he looks like he's like the Ralphie's brother in A Christmas Story where he's like, I can't put my arms down. Like that's how he looks going through the water. Like he can't move. He's just kind of flopping around in the river. And I'm sure that was awful because you have water coming up like through the mask that you're wearing, it's very strange. He climbs up on shore. Even the guy, like the weird parrot guy. What? Who lives like that? Who lives, unless you're Chris Farley, who lives in a van down by or a little shack down by the river with your parrot?
I was like, bro, if you disrespect my boy Chris, we're gonna fight.
No,
I caught on to the joke. There you go,
bro. This is the guy that Chris Farley was talking about. He just lives in a little like wooden shack down by the. I mean, it didn't even look like it had plumbing in it. Like, who? Like, what? Where did that come from? Yeah. And of course, even it gets weirder because Michael tries to kill him. He tries to strangle him. And it's funny because he goes to strangle him and he's like, up, I'm done. And he just drops, It's like when Laurie stabs him with the knitting needle in the original Halloween and she stabs him and he's like, oh. There's no like, he doesn't like try to like slowly fall. It's just like,
and falls.
He just plops down. But even put yourself in this guy's shoes. This homeboy in a white mask just came out of the river, sopping wet, covered in blood and bullet holes. Just tried to strangle you. And he falls down, he passes out, and you're like, you know what? He needs a warm bed. He needs a bath. I'm gonna nurse him back to health. Keeps him in your house for a year. Bro, if somebody was asleep for a year, shoot, a week, I'd have been like, bro, I need to get this guy out of here. like there's something wrong with this, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea.
And the Lord said, "Thou shalt turn the other cheek." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but no. What if he was a House of Thorn member?
But we never see that would have almost even made sense. But we never knew that. It's just left as being weird. And I know there's the whole Dr. Death scene that was cut from the movie originally. I don't know I actually haven't gotten a chance to watch it. It's on the H5 Shout Factory copy, the 4K that I got. Maybe I'll do that today. I haven't had a chance to watch that Dr. Death scene.
Wait a minute. He didn't let me watch it. What the fuck wrong with you?
I haven't seen it yet. We did our commentary. By the way, our full commentary of Halloween 5 is on our channel and on the podcast platforms right now. But yeah, so we'll have to check that out. I don't think it adds too much from what I heard. Everybody thought it was going to be this whole like alternate opening, and it didn't change very much the movie at all. So real quick, J-Dead's in the house, staggers on in, confused AF, looking like crazy Loomis. Hey guys, what's going on, buddy? He also says Tarantino Myers would have had a foot fetish using a chrome Desert Eagle instead of a knife, and his theme song would have been My Girl by the Temptations. What a vibe, man. What a vibe, bro. What a vibe.
Yeah.
Also says, honestly, I used to hate the Thorn trilogy, but now I really love it. If you just watch them for entertainment and don't let it ruin the other Halloweens for you, it's an interesting story and plot. 100%. In its own little thing, I can definitely appreciate, I can appreciate what it is, Yeah,
honestly, if you were to
and I do love it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I don't like it.
Like if you were to you could create a whole different other franchise.
Right.
With the House of Thorn trilogies. If you took out the Halloween name and you changed Michael Myers to be someone else. You could have created an entirely different franchise. 100%. I believe that. It's the same thing with the Resident Evil the new movie came out. It's a good zombie movie, but it's just that they slapped a fucking
That's
Resident
fair.
Evil logo on it.
Yeah, that it
which
just
is
shouldn't
what
have
made
had
it
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like J-Dad, I do agree with you. If you watch it just for just purely entertainment and not in regards to Halloween, yeah, it'd be a good movie. But it's just the fact that they marketed and advertised it as a Michael Myers movie, and it was what we got.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
My 2 cents.
And of course, then we cut. Jamie is at the clinic. She's with the nurse. She can't breathe. She's kind of having like a weird
episode.
Yeah, I don't even know whether it's not really like a panic attack. I don't know what it is. It's like all three of those things combined. Right? But she can't breathe. The really nice nurse is trying to help her out. And I always think it's really funny because that clinic dude is weird because, you would think like they'd have an elevator somewhere, but she can't breathe. She's panicking because she's having visions of Michael waking up out of this coma and like grabbing the mask and killing this nice hobo man who tried to help him out or whatever.
Nice
and
hobo man. I want to see the rolling credits. I want to see who that guy is.
The kind hobo.
Nice, kind hobo man.
She's like freaking out and whatever. And they take her gurney down the stairs. Like, bro, she's freaking out and it's like to get her down the stairs. It's strange.
That's not calming. That's not a calming thing to do.
No, it's not.
And it's not like you can sedate her either because she's a small girl. Like you can't give her any type of anesthetics because you kill her.
Yeah. But of course, then we get introduced to Loomis. They're getting ready to do a tracheotomy. They're gonna cut her throat. And Loomis is like, no, leave her. It will pass. And he's freaking out. Whatever.
By the way, the fucking
J-Dad says that clinic is the scariest thing in the movie. For real though, they don't seem like prepared for anything. Like anything at all.
Yeah, the fucking procedures they have. They let a grown old man that was burnt to a crisp walk into the operating room too. I would have been like,
I think he's her doctor though.
Psychology doctor, like psychiatrist doctor.
Though.
They're not allowed in the operating room though. In the operating room, that's for the surgeon and the nurse. That's it. You think if I was getting a knee surgery, I'd ask my therapist to join me in the operating room? No, that's not the way it goes, Chief. So the fact that Loomis just barged right in.
Do you want me in with you? No.
Yeah, like no, like that's not. I'm literally like I'm gonna be knocked out. But yeah, that hospital was just not prepped for damn near anything.
Very strange. Yeah.
The budget was so low. Literally, Haddonfield, district, whatever fuck it is. The council, y'all got to fund your hospital because clearly it's shit.
And it's the children's hospital, so it's not like the
which is even worse. You want to put more funding in a children's hospital, not less.
Yeah,
it's fine.
One of the things that disappointed me is, we're introduced, of course, back to Rachel, Ellie Cornell's Rachel. We're introduced to Tina and Samantha, which are her friends.
Bro, both of them.
And I'm not a fan of either one of them in this movie. I've actually found them extremely annoying more than anything else. But I was disappointed that Rachel died so early in the movie because she was really annoying for me in 4 because she was worried about Brady getting in her pants in 4, then way more worried about that than she was about Jamie. And in this movie, even the same kind of thing. She at least felt more maternal. I know she's not her mom; she's her sister. But she felt more. She had more of a maternal presence in this movie, and I felt
because if I was a mom and my daughter was shanking me in the bathtub, I'd stop being your mom.
Oh, you would not.
The unconditional motherly love is, it can only go so far and the line is getting stabbed in a bathtub.
It stops when your kid shanks you.
Does it not? I don't know. I would never know, I guess.
Well, I liked her character a lot more. Like, she seemed genuinely, not that she wasn't invested in her in 4. That's not what I mean. But I don't know. She was warmer in this movie. She was more mature, I guess, in
Yeah.
this film, which
Yeah,
it
like
made sense. You know what I
it
mean?
would have made
She was
sense
still
for
hanging out with her friends. She was still,
Mhm.
excited. Even the scene where she's listening to music and she's, hopping in the shower and she's running around like excited. She's going to go hang out with her friends, and Jamie's doing well and all this other stuff. Like, and Michael's kind of stalking her. And like, we know Michael is watching her from like around the house, and Max is barking and stuff. Which I did it again. Miguel said, Max better not die. The dog better not die. He better not die. I said, I don't think he does. I don't remember him dying. And of course we get to the end. He's like, screw you, man. You suck. Like, I'm sorry. I forget the dog died. I always forget the dog died.
Because the way it worked was Max was like barking at Michael, and then he disappeared. And I was like, oh fuck, Michael killed him. But then he ran back. So obviously, like, the police was like, yep, that's what we do. We save cats out of trees and we rescue dogs. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Bro.
And then later on, when at the very end, like what happened? Was it like hanged on a fucking hook?
Oh yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, I was like, Brad, fuck you. I'm not watching.
He was like, you could go straight to hell, Brad, for telling me that. I was like, I forgot. I'm sorry. And you brought something good up. So Rachel gets scared. You have the really cool scene actually where, not Lindsay.
You got this.
Jamie. God, that was way harder than it needed to be. Completely just tanked out of my brain. When Jamie's got the red marker and, Billy's like, are you okay, Jamie? He's a good friend. Homeboy's a good friend to her. And she's like writing the teeth. Yeah, the little kid.
He's simping over Jamie so hard.
he's
no
drawing
other man would run with Jamie to go fight a serial killer. Let's just say that, man.
You wouldn't go with your girl to fight a serial killer?
No friend is doing that. No friend is doing that. We've seen.
You wouldn't if a serial killer was coming after me. You wouldn't try to help me stop him.
If I was trying to bang you, yeah, 100%.
Well, so you'd help me stop him,
huh? Okay. Yeah, Billy's 100% a simp. 100%.
Yeah, but like it's a cool scene when she draws Max's teeth, and of course the camera pans over, and Loomis is like, in the door, and he opens up, and he's rough. Bro, Loomis is kind of a douchebag in this movie.
Bro, do you
like
not know?
He grabs her and like.
Did you completely forget what this franchise came from?
I mean, yeah, and like I get it.
Not doing enough.
I get it that Loomis is pissed. Loomis is fed up. He's like, I'm so sick of chasing after him. Like, I just want Michael to die. But bro, like when Jamie is sitting there with a marker and Loomis is like, what is he's pissed, and then even when he slams the door behind him and he leans like this close to her face and he's like, Jamie, help me, and he's like screaming at her or whatever, and she's crying. Like, bro, you're scaring her. Like, she's not gonna help you. She's not gonna, you're not gonna get anything out of her because you're scaring her to death. You're like coffee breath in her face.
She's not like, I should help him. He's yelling at me. I should probably help. No, dude, you're literally scarring this woman even more in her life.
Also, where are Jamie's parents in this movie?
Bro, I told you, the mother got shanked. Where the fuck do you think they are?
I mean, we know the mom survived, but
they're in Costa Rica. They're like, get me the fuck away from this child.
I don't know. Even like when stuff starts going down, you would be like, you know what? They're going to call her parents. Her parents are going to be on their way back. No.
It's like Jamie Lee Curtis
even
said,
Rachel dies.
Drama.
Their daughter dies. Rachel dies, and they still don't show up.
Well, no one saw where she was.
That's
no
fair.
one knew where she was.
Yeah,
and then Tina was like, oh, I'm gonna go meet up with her. And then she can't find her in her house. And then her other friend comes over and she was like, where is she? And she was like, oh, I guess she's gone. I was like,
oh yeah, she's like, I guess she's with her parents. Like, but she made plans with you. And she, she was home. Like, she was home earlier.
Like, so if I was going over to your place and you told me like I was gonna, and you like said, yeah, like come over, and then I come over and you're not there, I'm gonna assume you're
But
dead.
even I don't know. Even like Tina finds the broken picture. Like stuff is weird in the house. The phone is hanging. The picture's broken, and she's still like, "Ah!" And she goes to find her boyfriend or whatever. Like I don't know. It's just like the decisions in this movie are terrible. And speaking of terrible decisions, when Loomis calls Rachel after Jamie draws Max's mouth and they figure out that Michael is like staring at Max and he's barking or whatever because of her like psychological connection. Loomis calls Rachel and he's like, go check Max. And she's like, why? He's out in the yard. She's like, go check Max. He's like, he doesn't want any more dogs to die.
I respect Loomis for that.
Yeah, it's fair. She runs down there in her towel. She checks Max. And like things are weird. You see Michael behind her, but the audience sees him in the shadows, but we don't. Ellie Cornell's character doesn't. God, why am I forgetting all of their names? I don't know what the deal is. Rachel doesn't. And she goes and she runs to the neighbor next door or whatever. Okay. Another huge pet peeve about H5. The two bimbo idiot cops that go and clear her house for her.
Bimbo
and you
is
get
like
that,
a word for like hot, dude.
The idiot cops that walk out of the house and it's like a
oh yeah, it was the sound effect.
It's like what?
It was the
like,
it was the music.
Where did any of that come from?
Like whoever did the sound editing for the fucking movie, oh my god!
I mean,
yeah, it was like how like you had like the elementary music class, and you could play on the piano, and like you'd always go on like the tambourines and
the
stuff.
Sound effects.
That's literally what they did. He was like when they were walking out. I was like, is this Harsky and Hutch or something?
I don't know. If you're trying to make it like they're dumb, like I don't know. If you're trying to make it like they're dumb and they don't know what they're doing, just use the dialogue to do that. Like, I don't need them to look at each other and be like, like, I don't need that, It's just, it completely, like, rips you out of what's happening in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That was they're a very strange, and that happens, like, a couple times. Like, we see them, because they're the two cops that trail Tina when she goes to the party,
Yep.
It's just, and like they're playing Uno in the car, like when they're supposed to be watching where she is and stuff. Like it's just, they're awful. Like they're like two of the worst parts of the entire movie.
Yeah, 2018 Halloween with those two cops talking about like the brownies and the food, like that was good.
Jay Dead says, "Is it just me or is Brad having a series of mini strokes trying to remember these names?"
I know, right? For a man that's like so into Halloween, he does forget the names.
I'm also thinking about the actors' names. I'm trying to remember those too. So I have like two sets for every. I don't know. I'm not doing good.
No, yeah, I get you.
He also says, Billy the pirate was just trying to hook up with Jamie. Yeah, 100%. Like Miguel said, he was straight up simping for Jamie.
He really was. Like, let's be honest. Who would chase a girl outside the hospital all the way to the fucking cornfields to like stop a fucking maniac killer?
He even says no. Like when Michael's got the car, once they're at the party, I know we're hopping all around this plot, but like when Michael's got the car, he even goes, "No, me!" And he has Michael chase him. He's like, "Bro, this 9-year-old kid is gonna sacrifice himself for Jamie." Like, what?
Yeah, this kid had more character development than anybody in the franchise. I'm just saying. Like, make him the focus of the fucking movie. Make him turn into the next Dr. Loomis. Like, it was dope. You know what? If Loomis wanted the story of like the killer being Jamie, would have been cool is Jamie ends up killing Loomis and Billy is over here simping over Jamie. So the whole franchise is just about Billy simping over this serial killer that's now Jamie. Just start the franchise like that. Cool. Yeah, there we go. There's your story, Donald Pleasant.
It would have been like the exact story arc with what's his name from Suicide Squad with Enchantress.
Oh yeah, Enchantress and
Rick Flag.
Rick Flag, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
She's
But
bad, but he's
100%.
good, but he loves her too. Like it's
Mhm.
I don't know. It would have been complicated. So of course we we get introduced to a couple of different characters. They're boyfriends. You get the scene where they're the scene, not the scene, the scene, where they're stealing beer from the alcohol store, from the liquor store that he works at. Bro, his car, it's actually one of my favorite deaths in the movie, when this guy who's all pristine, like, the one guy, he's like running his finger along it, and he's like the real dickhead type. Like, he's got the 50s leather jacket on and the circle glass, the circle black glasses and whatever. And homeboy, his buddy, like, runs his finger along his car, whatever, and he squishes his face and he's like, touch the car again, I break your arm, or whatever he says, and he's laughs it off or whatever. I love it when Michael takes the gardening tool and is like, whack, like the whole way down his car, because you can see he's looking in the mirror and he's like, and he gets out, and of course Michael ends him like with that gardening tool or whatever. That's actually one of my favorite deaths, I think, in the movie. Miguel, what was your favorite death? We haven't even talked about that. Did you have a favorite death?
Let me see. It was. I would say that one was probably one of my favorite deaths. I would say second.
I just think it's kind of. I think it's a funny one. That's why I think it's hysterical the way he like scratches the car.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little more disappointed that we didn't get to see much of the sheath. We literally saw him use it once, and that was like the cover of the fucking movie. I was like, guys, what are we doing here? And it's the same thing, because like at least with like Halloween 2, like Michael Myers was using the scalpel. Like he was fucking people up with that scalpel. Like, respect, dog.
It was his main weapon.
It was his main weapon. So I was kind of expecting him to have a sheath, but I guess not. But yeah, I would say the greaser boy, his death was probably one of my favorites.
The shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. His death was good. Honestly, Tina's was pretty impactful, honestly, because
that one looked a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, because she got stabbed like right here and just died.
Well, and you could tell the knife was not like solid metal, like it was a prop knife, because it stabs in her and it like wobbles. Mm-hmm. Like it actually like wobbles in his hand as she's like flailing on the ground. I don't know. I guess I should say Tina's character, it grew on me as the movie went along.
Surprisingly.
She's so like oddly naive about everything. Like, like even like with Rachel, with with like everything that's going on with the cops trailing her, she's like, I guess you guys are supposed to be trailing me or something, like, blah, blah, blah. Even Jamie, like when we get to the middle of the film, when Jamie is bawling her eyes out, like having a panic attack because she doesn't want her to leave. They can't find Rachel. Tina is like the closest thing to like family she's got there right now. And Tina's like, when you're older, you'll understand. You just have to be with people that you vibe with. And she leaves. And I'm like, bro, you suck. You're a terrible human being. This little girl is bawling her eyes out, begging you to stay. The police are begging you to stay because it's not safe. And she's just like, I have to go find my boyfriend.
It was like typical like Rachel fashion. Like, I need to go get laid, so we're just gonna leave.
Yeah, I don't know. And even her boyfriend, it's funny because she like, she leaves the house, or she leaves the clinic, she gets in the car with him, and it's Michael in the brute mask.
Oh, dude, that one was the stupidest scene I've ever seen.
It's not great. And it's funny because Trick or Treat Studios actually sells the brute mask. You can get it.
It's just the fact that it was just the fact that like it took Michael away from like the emotionless kind of sign, like purely and simple evil, to like, does he have like a weird fetish for Tina right now? Because he's kind of just letting things happen right now, and you could tell whenever like Tina like kissed him, he was like he gave like the whole like, it was like the whole like.
It's like a Scooby-Doo character where like you only see their eyes.
Again, it was like a "It's Me, Billy" thing. It's like they try to like focus so much on the eyes at that moment to like show like his emotions or whatever, but it was just like, I don't know. It when that brute mask, it really solidified my belief in regards to like that the Halloween mask you have like back there behind you all weirdly like is literally
Yeah.
the scariest thing you can have. Because that brute mask was, I mean, I'm sure everyone buys them because they're scary, but Michael Myers' mask is just literally just as scary.
Bro,
And so whenever I saw him, what?
What if when Tina would have kissed him, he would have just been like, oh,
Oh my god. I'd have been freaked out, man. I'm not gonna lie, that'd have been a little disgusting. But it's just the fact that Michael literally took off his mask and put on another one. Because isn't the mask some type of symbolic thing too? Like it feels kind of out of place for him to like take off the mask and then put on a brute mask.
Yeah. I guess that like the thing is, what would have been his motivation for that? Like why? Why would he have like what would have made him I mean, if he would have just stealed his car or stolen his stealed. Jaded, I think you're right. I may need to go to the hospital. If he would have just stolen his car, he could have just stolen the car and not went and picked up Tina. But he actually like picked her up and was trying to like pretend to be her boyfriend. It was, I don't know, it was very strange. That was a very strange thing. And even we haven't even gotten to the whole cookie woman thing. Like, first of all, he drives like he is driving on the Autobahn like he should be a NASCAR driver. Like he's spinning the car around and
hey man, it's a Mustang. At him, whatever. Have fun. Crowd control, dude.
Bro, he's driven like 3 times in his entire life.
I know.
But then we get they're having the costume pageant thing. That's when we get Pirate Billy. Jamie's dressed like a pink fairy or something along those lines or whatever. And she starts having the visions or whatever, and that's when we get Cookie, and Billy's like Cookie, and Loomis is like Cookie. They're freaking out or whatever. Tina's in the gas station or whatever.
What the fuck are we getting at? Cookie woman, and they're like Cookie, like, bro. We are. Well,
she was trying to.
We are not watching a game of charades.
But she was trying to get him to like know where Tina was so that they know where to go.
I don't care. That's
embarrassing. He said, Jay did say starting a GoFundMe for Brad. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, go find him. But yeah, the fucking cookie woman. It was just like, dude, what the fuck are we getting at, guys? Like, it was like a game of charades I was watching, and everyone in the fucking and like in the audience was just like.
Well, I think it's funny because I mean I get what they were trying to do. They were trying, she was trying to, she was trying to get them to understand where Tina was because she was like trying to get the words out or whatever.
I'm gonna call Jamie now. I'm gonna call Jamie 11.
Well, it's funny though because Loomis is so angry already, and he's so like he's so fed up and done at this point. He's like, she finally gets out like Cookie woman, and he's like Cookie woman, like he's like what, he's like so irritated at this point. But they pull up, bro. They sent like 40 cops to go get Tina. I was like, bro, where were all those cops before? Like,
well, that's
they
my
surround
thing.
Tina.
That's my thing. It's like the fact that like in this movie they really utilized the SWAT. Yeah. Like the SWAT was on call.
And it's funny. And, Jay did. No, I do see we haven't talked about the Myers house yet. That's a whole other thing. But speaking of the SWAT team, Miguel, it's funny. And this is kind of a thing that like so many Halloween fans always wish that we could have gotten. There was a deleted scene where once, after Tina dies, after they're at the farm and Loomis bribes Michael to come back to the house, they get the call that he's at the clinic and, they have the SWAT team surrounding Michael's house. They're in the bushes. Jamie and Loomis are upstairs with the heavier cop, and they're sitting there and they're waiting on Michael, trying to ambush him. Well, they get the call and all those cops leave, right? There was actually a scene that was cut, and I don't know if this scene exists anywhere. Who knows if it ever even got, taken off the cutting room floor. But there is a scene where Michael just annihilates the SWAT team and all of those cops, like just
That would've been dope.
tears them apart. Like H4 gas stations or police station scene, but like if you would actually see it, like could you imagine Michael like just ripping through SWAT team members? Like that'd be dope.
That would've
Like
been
I
dope.
really
Instead,
wish
we
that
got
could have been left in, you know?
instead we got hunched over Michael Myers in the fucking
Crying.
hell. Yeah, just like Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie. Yeah. But fucking hell, that'd have been dope. Plus the SWAT team was kind of trash. Even though they were like
Oh,
they were
yeah, they were
outnumbering him, they were kind of trash.
Oh,
You
terrible.
saw how they were hiding in the bushes. You could see them, they're like shuffling and everything. I was like, yo, the whole point of an ambush is to stay still. Stay the fuck still, my guy. And then the officer with the fucking shotgun who was like, all you know the plan, you know what to do, remember?
Well, even Meeker's
And
like,
I'm out.
Meeker, he comes over the radio and Meeker's like, yeah, I want silence over the radio. I also want updates from every post every 5 minutes.
I
I'm
know
like,
that
"Bro,
was
what?
so
What?
That
It's like,
was so
what do you mean?
contradicting. I was like, okay, I guess. Okay, Meeker, you dropped the ball right there.
Jay Dad also says the only thing missing from that scene was Loomis slapping Jamie as she said cookie. Could you imagine? She says cookie woman. He's like, what do you want? He's just going crazy. More crazy and drunk than he already is at that point. Yo, is Loomis hitting the bottle throughout the movie? Is Loomis hitting the bottle throughout the movie? Let's be real.
Dude, he's got a flask in that trench coat somewhere.
He's got to.
Like, he's got like
He's
three
got
or four.
to.
Yeah, you know how there's like inside pockets. Yeah, it's literally one right here, one right here, two like right here, and then like who knows how many. He probably
like
has them stashed in like Jamie's like pocket too, like just in case.
He's like the merchant in Resident Evil 4 where like he opens up his coat and instead of having like guns and ammo and whatever all in his coat, he's just got like flasks and different kinds of like bourbon in his. Well, even in H6, bro, look at the like the first time we see Loomis's house, because he lives out in the country and whatever now, you know, like when the camera pans, he's got a full bar in his house with like all kinds of whiskey and stuff up on his wall,
Ain't that the
which
dream,
is
though?
about the most grow old and retire to the country with your whiskey collection.
Yes,
that's the goal.
That sounds awesome to me.
So yeah, let's talk about the Myers house, Jay. Glad you brought that up. The Myers house looks nothing. They didn't even try to make it look like the OG original Myers house in this movie. Like nothing about it. The layout, the exterior, the yard, nothing about this even closely resembles the original Myers house, which is another like massive plot hole. For me, if you can't get the real not the real Myers house, but like if you can't get even a house that looks similar, just shoot the interior. Like put it on a set, like put it on a sound stage and just shoot the interior of it. Like you don't need to do any exterior shots. And if you do, just put them like, you know, just go in the yard, you know, just show like bits and pieces of the backyard and the cops hiding in the bushes. And then you can show the interior. Like maybe they would have been hiding in, which I guess they technically are hiding in Judith's room in this movie, but like, I don't know, like the whole basement and the different floors. And I mean, even like it's got like on this, I have it on my H5 poster over here. Like it's got like, I don't know. It looks like it's 3 floors. Like it's got 3 different floors to it. Like it's just strange, you know? It doesn't resemble anything like the original Myers house at all. You know, and you know, we get to that point because once they're at the farm, you know, the cops follow, the 2 crazy idiot cops follow Tina to the barn or to the farm, the barn, the farm. And she's at this whole party with the high schoolers. They're all high. They're all trying to get laid. They're all trying to, you know, they're being whatever. And you get the funny scene. I always thought this was kind of funny. The idiot boyfriend chases them. He chases Samantha and whoever else out of the house. And he's got like the spot on, the mask and everything. It's Michael. Like it's like this version of Michael, which is kind of strange. Like where would he have gotten like an identical mask? And you know, he's got the knife up or whatever, and he's like, You know, she's like, wait, are you going to kill me or something? And he's like, what? And the cops are like, not funny. Definitely not funny, you know? So that was kind of strange because they're just dumb. Like all of the teenagers in this movie are dumb.
That's
With
the
the
usual. That was like the usual like horror trope, though.
with the exception of Rachel, and Rachel was only in the first 20 minutes, you know what I mean? So it's like, but they're just dumb. Like the decisions they made, even when the two are in the barn trying to have sex, they're finding like they're more like Tina's more worried about the kittens that happen to have blood all over them than like thinking something is wrong. They don't make very good decisions in this movie, and they're not the teenagers in
because
H5
you
are
had
not
sex
the
on a
brightest.
fucking haystack. That's like having sex on sand. You got a lot of shit up your crack. Like that don't feel good at all. I don't care how romantic you may think it is. It's not. It's uncomfortable as fuck. And yeah, I just don't get it. And there's a possibility you could get stabbed by a fucking pitchfork. It's yeah. Which I feel for that man, dude.
That was a good death scene, though. I will say that was a pretty good death scene.
He was probably so close to finishing, and then he just got shanked in the back.
Well, at the point where you see the four, like the notches in the pitchfork, like the blades come through him, and Michael like picks him off or whatever, like that. Or he doesn't take it out of him. Michael stabs him, and then I think, does she push him off of her?
I don't know.
Yeah, because she pushes him off of her and stands up, and that's when Michael grabs the sheath. You know, that's when he grabs the sheath, and you don't even see him kill her with it. Like, you just see him swing it, and then blood splatters, like, at him, and then that's all you see.
Yeah, that was such a wasted opportunity, guys. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, and I will say the barn scene and the whole chase scene where Michael's driving the car, and by this point, Billy and
Jamie.
Once again, Jamie. God, I suck. At this point, Billy and Jamie have arrived at the farm. Michael chases
They literally
them through the woods.
Forrest Gumped that bitch.
They really did.
All of a sudden, I just started running.
I just ran.
Yeah.
I mean, it was far enough
I
that
could
like
run as fast like the wind blows.
it was far enough that the cops had to give Tina a ride, and it still took them a minute. And somehow Billy and Jamie just booked it all the way there and happened to arrive at the second that Tina was like trying to escape from Michael.
Yeah.
So I don't know, strange. But that actually leads to one of my favorite points because we get the whole cool fight and the fight scene. I guess it's kind of cool seeing Michael like the Christmas tree farm where Michael's driving through all the Christmas trees when he's chasing them. He's driving through the field. He wraps the car around the tree, and that's a cool shot too when you hear the horn and Jamie's like, you know, she picks herself up, she's bleeding or whatever, and the horn stops and she's like,
that was a dope scene.
Because she knows that he lifted his head up or whatever, and you see him rise up out of the car and turn his head. Tina's death was pretty decent. Like, I will say, I actually thought Tina's death was fairly emotional for not liking her character all that much.
Yeah,
I was like, you know what? I did. I felt for Jamie more than anything else, you know, because Jamie had to watch that happen. And once again, Loomis just walks right out. He just walks out of the woods. Loomis was there the whole time. He just steps out from behind a tree and grabs them. And of course, they're screaming. And he's like, you're fine. You know, you're okay. You're okay. You're all right. Or whatever. And that actually leads into one of my favorite scenes. And actually, it might be one of my favorite scenes in the franchise, which might surprise some people, but I actually really like it.
No, that was cool too. I know exactly.
It's a good Loomis and Michael moment when you know the cops all pull away. Loomis is like, "I'll catch up with you in a minute" or whatever, and they leave him a car. And Loomis faces like the foggy forest and the trees and everything, and he's talking to Michael about the rage. You have to stop this. Like the rage is like a poison; it's going to get you too. And you actually see Michael step out from behind the trees, and it's almost like Loomis is like he's looking for him, and they almost like there's a moment to me where I feel like you kind of see him like do a double take, and it's like they see each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I think Michael and Loomis see each other in that moment, and Loomis is like when he says "go home," like I'll be waiting for you there or whatever. I actually thought that was a really cool scene, and that's again, it's one of those few Loomis and Michael moments that I think make some of those later sequels. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you take Loomis out of the equation of any of these sequels, they're garbage.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just not. It's not the. Maybe they're not garbage, but it's just not the same. It doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't have the same.
The impact is gone. Yeah.
Yeah. The impact is all gone. So that's when we cut back to the Myers house.
By the way,
Cops
about the
leave.
Myers house, bro, they were setting a trap for Michael.
Yeah.
No one ever thought to check the attic.
What do you mean?
Bro, there were bodies and a dog. And nobody from the SWAT decided
I didn't
to check
even
the
think
attic.
about that. You're right.
Yeah.
You are 100% right. Nobody ever thought to even look at it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure someone would have saw it. They'd be like, well,
I've
looks like
never
Michael
thought
knows
of that
his place.
before.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that before. That's a good point.
I was like, again, play the dun, 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 dun,
for all of the
they
cops.
They really dropped the ball.
Honestly, including Meeker, because even if Meeker is like, even if Meeker's in charge of that operation, bro, they should have cleared that entire house before they were like, you know what, we're gonna camp out here.
And they would have saw the Billy shrine like up in the attic. Like, it's simple as that.
Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. Oh,
Make me the chief of police, dog. I'd stop Michael.
So we get the whole scene again, which we could have seen the cool SWAT team scene of him just annihilating them. They leave, and Loomis is like, now you'll come. And he throws the radio out in the yard, and he goes back inside. And again, this is where it's really screwed up on Loomis's part. Like, you have to think, I think Loomis has always tried to do the right thing. But it's screwed up that he's about to use a kid as bait. Like, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, he was kind of going a little too hard right there.
But he uses her as bait. Michael arrives. Him and Michael have that scene that we talked about earlier in the show, where Michael slashes him, throws him off the balcony. Loomis is trying to kind of connect with him emotionally, and then the chase scene is on.
You totally forgot to mention, the poor little chubby cop.
No, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
This is where the chase scene happens, because this is where Michael starts making his way upstairs, walking fast. He makes his way up, and this is where the cop is like, we're getting the hell out of here, and he tries to get ready to lower Jamie or whatever. And he actually does. He nails Michael a few times. He shoots him, but doesn't even faze him, of course.
Does not.
And this is where he does have a good death. And I saw somebody in the chat say this earlier. The heavy cop does have a pretty good death. Where Michael, he wraps it around his head and hangs him out the window. That's a pretty decent death, because then you get the really cool shot of, even though it's not the Myers house, you get the shot of the Myers house and Michael standing in the window with the cop hanging, like he's just hanging out the window. And that's not a bad shot, in and of itself. I'll take that. It's a pretty cool shot. Yeah. And of course, kind of the big conclusion of this movie is Loomis leading Jamie. I mean, you have a cool fight scene. It's actually a pretty intense moment when Jamie is in the laundry chute and Michael comes from she falls down, and they're kind of doing this cat and mouse thing through the laundry chute and everything.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool. That was a cool scene, and there was a lot of kind of panic, and it was tense. It was a very tense moment. Even when she's kind of trying to hang on, and he's stabbing the knife through. You see the knife moving through the I guess it's aluminum. I mean, it's pretty thin metal if he's stabbing it. Yeah. But it's pretty cool. She makes it back up. And this is where Loomis catches back up with her, because Loomis actually grabs her and is like, come on, she's here. Come on. And he's trying to lure him into his trap, which it's cool. And again, this is where I think the movie should have ended. We talked a lot about the ending with the the police station and things like that. I feel like the movie would have been more impactful if you would have just ended it at Loomis. he gets him in the room, in the living room. He drops the chains on him, shoots him with the darts, and then he starts beating him or whatever with the stick, and he's yelling, "Die!" And the thing that makes that scene so cool is it's like you kind of get the sense that this is Loomis's pent up rage. Like, this is him cracking. Like, he's done. He just wants to kill him. Like, he's like, I'm not trying to help you anymore. Like, he's just swinging the 2x4 and he's trying to hit him or whatever. And Michael falls, and you get the whole, I guess, was it supposed to be a heart attack? I assume he has a heart attack.
Exhaustion, I guess.
Kind of exhaustion, a heart attack, and he falls on Michael. I think it would have been cool just to even end it there. Like, that would have been a decent, it would have been abrupt, but I think it could have worked if you would have made it abrupt in that sense. You know what I mean? What do you think of that?
It would have been like, it should have been in the moment where he was like constantly saying, die, die, die. But then like it'll pan to the camera and you'll all see is Michael Loomis doing this and then just pow, roll credits.
Oh, that would have been cool too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it was a cool scene, man. And even the way Loomis falls and they're like face to face with each other, like that's kind of strange.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and I it's funny because I think Donald Pleasence even said they all thought Loomis was dead. Like, they wrote that as like Loomis's death scene. They didn't even expect him to come back for H6, but of course, you know, Donald Pleasence said he would do any of them if they asked him to because he loved it, you know. So of course they brought him back, and unfortunately 6 was the last one, but that's really H5, man. I mean, that's again, it's not my favorite. It's kind of in the middle for me, like lower middle in terms of my ranking. And we are going to rank all of them probably after Halloween ends. We're going to wait because it's almost like, why do it now if there's, you know, we still have one more coming in, you know, in 9 months. But we are going to rank them all. Again, we talked about the final scene a whole lot with the police station. Not my favorite.
We really
scene.
did go backwards.
We did. We really like kind of talked about the movie backwards. But you know, I would put this one over H6 because of the mood, because of the vibe. It feels more original Halloween than anything after 6 does. I think 6 on is the point where it kind of turns into something else. And again, that might have been because of the decade change. It was now the 90s. It was different time. You know what I mean? It was a different Freddie and Jay.
It was being produced by like Dimension Studios, which did
the studio change.
I was like, where is Antonio Banderas?
the studio changed, the decade changed, you know, like we said earlier, pop culture changed. So this is kind of the last one, I think, in the original vibe, the original that 80s, like true 80s feel. So Miguel, rate it, bro. Rate Halloween 5.
4.7.
Really? That low?
Just imagine what what the next one's gonna be.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't expect that to be that low.
Nope, that's my score. Sorry, guys.
Wow. So Miguel is giving it a 4.7. I'm gonna give it a 5.7. I'm gonna go a whole point above you.
Okay.
Again, it's kind of in the middle for me. Like, there are things that I hate. There are things that I actually kind of like about this movie. It's a fun watch, you know, like Jay did said earlier in the chat, you know, if you can look at the Thorn trilogy and just be like, look, it's a blast to watch them. I can appreciate that. I don't think it's a very good story. I think it's kind of a cop out. I don't think that it's I don't know. I don't think that it's necessarily a bad way of kind of stepping up the story, or as they felt they had to step up the story, you know, because as we talked about earlier, they felt like the whole point of the Man in Black and this weird thorn symbol and, you know, a lot of what they did with Halloween 5 was just because they needed something that felt like they needed something extra to throw in the movie, because it was like, it's not enough. The Loomis chasing Michael story is not enough anymore, which I disagree with that. I think it was enough. It just depends on how you execute that. But it is what it is, man. And this, you know, look, we can talk crap about it all day. We love this franchise. Everybody loves this franchise. Even if you hate H5, you gotta still appreciate H5 for what it was, you know? I mean, it does have its moments. So real quick, I found these in taking shape. They have critical impressions, just a couple of critics reviews from 1989. Check this out. So I'm not going to read all of them. This is from Variety. This is from the official Variety review of H5 in 1989. Pretty stupid and boring fare. Dominique Athena Gerard doesn't bring much to the action, with the exception of a protracted scene in which one of the dimwits in distress harangues the killer in a car, thinking it's her boyfriend in a Halloween garb. Wendy Kaplan.
He liked that? Variety liked that one?
Of all the moments, that's not my favorite. Wendy Kaplan proves vivacious and fetching as the perky teen nut, even if the character is flaky. Dannielle Harris is bright-eyed as the disturbingly beset Jamie. Pretty stupid and boring fare. That's how this review started out. Like, what? Another one. This is from Mike Sidoni from Gannett News Service. Neither frightening nor thrilling, neither good, gory, or unintentionally funny, Halloween 5 abandons every possible interested viewer, abandoning those, including those wacky slice and dice fan films. It's a Friday the 13th without a Jason, but with a blander that is less creative, mass murdering villain. Halloween 5 does have one grace, though, not a saving one. Little Harris acts her heart out. Of course, in a movie about a guy who rips hearts out, it's a wasted effort. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. What? They hated the critics, despised this movie. They did not like it at all. And even if you look at some of the other ones, they really did not. It was not met with.
They added it in the book.
It was not met with much positivity.
They added it in the book, is what got me. That was just like let's just do it. Let's just add it in the book, because I'm sure everyone's.
Well, at the end of each chapter about each movie, they have like different reviews about them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. And I will say, man, Dannielle Harris rocked it. Mm-hmm. She in 4 and 5, she completely rocked it. She was great. I wish they would have brought her back for H6, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's what's done is done, you know. And of course, she did get to come back to the franchise in Rob Zombie's films, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I really liked her as Annie. I'm not gonna lie. I thought she played a really good
solid actor
as Annie in the Rob Zombie films. By the way, I was listening to her podcast. Her and Dannielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton from the Rob Zombie films have a podcast called Talk Scary to Me. Not Stalk Scary to Me. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Dannielle Harris was?
I think so. Yeah, she was.
I still haven't seen that movie.
It's a good movie.
I still haven't seen it. I need to, but I still have not seen it. Yeah, but she was like, yeah, when we were working on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I was like, what? I was like, you were in that? Like, I just didn't know that. I was just kind of like, that's, strange. I just didn't know that. But I also haven't seen it, so you liked it though, didn't you?
I did. I actually liked it. Let me see who she plays.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like the guy. Hold on, let me see.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Dannielle Harris, right?
Angel. Who's Angel? You would know.
Hold on.
She played Angel. You finding it?
I'm trying to think if it's the same girl. So it's not like the girl that you see on the trailer. It's like one of the girls that's like in the fucking farm, like all of like, of Manson's weird family. She's one of those girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I still need to check that one out. So guys, I think that is going to do it for episode number 6 of Purely and Simply Evil. Our full commentary of Halloween 5 is out now on our YouTube channel, on all of the other podcast platforms. And also our commentary of Halloween 6 will drop, let's see, on Wednesday, I believe, of next week. We will drop that on Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. We, as of right now, we'll tweet if something else changes. We don't believe we will have a live show next week. We're going to be busy pretty much all week on Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. So no live show next week, but our H6 commentary will drop on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And then the following Tuesday, we will have episode number 7 of Purely and Simply Evil. I don't even know what day is that, Miguel. Let me double check here. That Tuesday will be the 8th, February 8th. We will have episode number 7 of Purely and Simply Evil, and then that Saturday the 12th we will have our 60th episode of Let's Talk Movies, of our main show. So we'll put all of that in the comments. We'll put all of that in the tweets as well. So guys, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. We do new shows every single Tuesday and Saturday. That has changed. Tuesday and Saturday at Eastern, or 8 p.m. Eastern. I need to get off the show, man, because I cannot talk this morning. I don't know what it is. J-Dad, you better get that GoFundMe going, buddy, because I don't know what the deal is. We do new shows Tuesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got to get off here. See you guys.
See ya.